You're listening to the micro version of the Savage Lovecast, www.savagelovecast.com.
If you're stuck in a relationship quandary, or if you're looking for sexual harmony, well, there's nothing you can't ask on the Savage Lovecast.
They're back. Just in time for Pride. The ex-gays and the right-wing political and religious organizations that promote them are back. And they've got a shiny new website and a hip new Instagram account to appeal to the youngsters. You may recall that Exodus International, the nation's oldest and largest and most toxic ex-gay org, folded in 2013. And on their way out, while they shuffled off this mortal coil, they admitted that ex-gay therapy, conversion therapy, praying away the gay, it doesn't work. Their leader even apologized for the pain and hurt Exodus had caused so many LGBTQ people. This was the same guy, Alan Chambers, that was his name, who a few years earlier had famously said, or I tried to make him famous for having said this, that the opposite of homosexual isn't heterosexual, it's holiness. All right, let's pause here quickly to clock that name, Exodus. The chapter in the Bible about Moses leading the Jews out of slavery in Egypt. Exodus framed homosexuality as a slavery, and Alan Chambers and all the assholes at Exodus were supposed to be the Mosai. Anyway, Exodus was an umbrella group, an umbrella organization, so there were still other ex-gay orgs rattling around out there after the motherfucker ship shut down. I don't know if the ex-gay org with the shiny new Instagram account a reader directed my attention to last week is a new ex-gay org or a rebranded old ex-gay org. And you know what? I don't really care. New or old, it is the same old ex-gay bullshit in a shiny new bag. This time, they're calling themselves Equipped to Love. Let's break that down. Only straight people are capable of love. Only straight people are equipped to love. Gay people, unequipped to love. And their tagline, Equipped to Love's tagline, is nothing is impossible with God. These are the same people, of course, who will tell you that they oppose homosexuality because two men can't make a baby. So some things are impossible, even with God on your side, it seems. Equipped to Love's new ex-gay, anti-gay campaign is called Once Gay. They've got a website, oncegay.com, and an Instagram account, also Once Gay, and a hashtag Once Gay. And their Instagram account, in a charming move, appropriates the pride flag, because that's what Jesus would do, if Jesus was an asshole and a troll. Anyway, the Once Gay website features testimonials, as does their Instagram account, for men and women who've managed to escape the slavery of the homosexual lifestyle with the help of, spoiler alert, Jesus Christ. Like I said, same old shit, brand new bag. And they're pushing the same old garbage they've always pushed because really, garbage is all they've got. Well, garbage in a small and very sad collection of self-hating, recloseted cases. If you go to the website, you will learn that people become gay because they were molested as children, been debunked, disproved, not true, a lie, or seduced by adults when they were teenagers, debunked, disproved, a lie. There's a lot of that all over the website. But there is way more of their favorite stories about gay men, about a particular kind of gay man, the sad gay cockhound. Andrew says, I started drinking, doing drugs, and being promiscuous at an early age. Then I started to drink more and do more drugs until I was having a lot of blackout nights and not remembering on the next day what I had done or who the night before. I was having multiple sex partners without using protection, and I was seeking men through outlets that weren't safe. Gary says, my life as a homosexual was chaotic. There were some high points, but for the most part, the lows were extremely low, and there were many of them. I was using a lot of alcohol, sex, and other types of distractions in order just to cope. Another Andrew says, I had a career in musical theater in New York City. I was gay identified, and I was sexually addicted. I had many one-night stands through Craigslist or other ways. I was in relationship after relationship that failed and had hookup after hookup after hookup. And it all just made me feel bad about myself. There is nothing religious conservatives enjoy more than sitting around swapping titillating stories about slutty gay men having tons and tons of meaningless, soul-deadening, hole-wrecking gay sex. And you know what? I am the first to admit that it is possible for gay men to have tons of sex. Gay men can have too much sex, even. Anonymous and or one-off sex doesn't have to be meaningless or squalid or wreck your hole, of course, but gay men are men, and men can be pigs. As I've long said, straight men would do everything gay men do if straight men could, but straight men can't because women won't. And it's not that women are any less horny than men. Women can be pigs too, and studies have shown women just as horny as men. It's just that women have to factor in sexual violence, risk of pregnancy, and slut shaming before deciding to jump into bed, bush, or back room with some dude they just met. Now, let's assume, for sake of argument, that these testimonials are real and that Andrew, Gary, and Andrew are actual people who left the gay lifestyle. These ex-gay guys they're always trotting out. It's always the hoes, isn't it? Every last ex-gay guy featured at Once Gay, if these guys exist, either believes or is willing to pretend to believe that they had just one choice: gay and all the dicks, or straight and no dicks at all. Gay and all the drugs, or straight and none of the drugs. No middle ground, no moderation. That's what we in the business call a false choice. Because it is possible for a man to be gay and spend his entire adult life nibbling just one dick, or just one dick at a time. But in the ex-gay narrative, the titillating ex-gay narrative, beloved by religious conservatives, they cannot get enough of it. Fap. Gay sex is always meaningless and dehumanizing and a parade of cock. Gay men are addicted to dick, and we can't control ourselves. Only straight sex is meaningful. Only straight people are properly equipped to love. Only straight people can control themselves. It's easy to laugh at these self-hating ex-gay hoes and their stupid slogans and their false choices and their idiotic social media campaigns. But it's important to remember that gay people aren't the target audience for campaigns like this. The religious right isn't attempting to save us from ourselves. They're not trying to slap the dick out of my mouth. This is about weaponizing a small handful of self-hating homos and using them to convince straight people, including straight parents of gay children, vulnerable gay children, that gay people don't need to exist, that we can change and should change and would change if only we weren't so stubborn and so very addicted to dick. It's a dangerous argument because it's just a couple of short hops from these people don't need to exist to they don't deserve to exist to, hey, see that faggot over there? Let's end his existence. It is, at bottom, exterminationist rhetoric, eliminationist homophobia. And Equipped to Love is pushing it out there just in time for Pride and pushing it on straight people, including the straight parents of vulnerable queer kids. Because they're the assholes and they're the trolls, not Jesus Christ, their imaginary friend. And they don't care if they push a gay kid to suicide or get a gay man killed. Finally, Andrew, Gary, Andrew, I'd like you to meet Michael and Gary. Michael Busey, co-founder of Exodus International, and Gary Cooper, a leader of Exodus International back in the day. They met at Exodus, where they fell in love and came out a third time. First as gay, then as ex-gay, then as ex-ex-gays. Also known as always were gays, always will be gays. You can't pray it away, guys. You can lie to your faith leaders. You can lie to your opposite sex trophy spouse. You can lie to us on Instagram, but you can't lie to yourselves. You know what's going on between your ears when your dick is hard. And if Jesus exists, so does he. All right, coming up on today's show, on the micro edition, tons of your Qs, lots of my As, and on the Magnum Savage Lovecast that you can subscribe to at savagelovecast.com. Twice as long, more guests, no ads. Ellie and Leigh are here from the Les Hangout podcast to help us tackle a whole bunch of your lesbian questions. That's on today's show. This episode of the Savage Lovecast is brought to you by Aptiv. Aptiv produces audio-based workouts created by certified personal trainers, available through a mobile app. New members get 30% off an annual membership. Visit aptiv.com/savage. That's AAPTIV.com/savage. This episode of the Savage Lovecast is brought to you by Boll and Branch, luxury, affordable, fair trade certified sheets. Get $50 off a set of sheets plus free shipping by going to bollandbranch.com and entering SAVAGE. Today's episode is brought to you by Stamps.com. Stamps.com brings all the services of the U.S. Postal Service right to your fingertips. Buy and print official U.S. postage for any letter, any package, any class of mail using your own computer and printer. And right now you can enjoy the Stamps service with a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus postage and a digital scale. Go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in my code SAVAGE. That's Stamps.com, click the mic, enter SAVAGE.
Hey, Dan. I'm a 35-year-old straight male living in Des Moines, Iowa, and I have a pretty interesting situation that happened to me the other day at work. I'm a flight attendant, and I was flying with one of my work acquaintances, and I was talking about how great my relationship is with my current girlfriend and how she's basically up for anything. We've talked about possibly having an open relationship or open marriage in the future. And when I arrived back into Chicago at the end of my trip, keep in mind I'm flying with this guy, my girlfriend actually texted me, and she was like, "Are you by yourself? Can you talk?" So I called her, and what had happened apparently was once we landed into Chicago, one of my work acquaintance, the guy who I'm flying with, apparently had messaged my girlfriend and, had asked her a really inappropriate question. The question he asked her was, what's the largest sex toy you've ever used? And at first she thought that this was a prank that I was pulling with him, and it wasn't. So I told her that, and I was really completely taken back by the whole thing. I cannot believe my work acquaintance not only did that, but the fact that he did it while I was working right next to the guy. There's two questions I've got. The first one is, how do I respond to this with this guy? Do I say something to him? I mean, he's just a work acquaintance, but it's still, I can't let this go, I can't let it go on like that. No one should talk to her like that. And second, my girlfriend actually messaged my best friend, like, do you know anything about this? Because when I was still in the air, she was thinking, oh, this must be a prank. And my best friend was like, oh, it's probably something that he did, in conjunction with him. It's just a prank. And then when I told my best friend that, I said, hey, it wasn't. He literally said that he had messaged her. And his response was, oh, yikes. And he really at first didn't believe her. And now I'm kind of upset at my best friend for this too. I really don't know what to do. I could really use your help with not only how I confront this guy and how do I talk to my best friend about basically not believing, and he didn't want to be involved in it whatsoever.
Working backwards, I don't understand why you're mad at your friend for guessing wrong. Your girlfriend contacted your friend to say, hey, what's up with this, do you think? And your friend was like, maybe it's a prank? I don't think he violated your trust or violated you in any way or violated your girlfriend. I think he just guessed wrong. You might want to have a convo with your friend about why he would guess wrong. If in the past you've engaged in kind of dirty pranks and ribald conversation with him and joked around about the size of sex toys, he might make a legitimate case that it wasn't a leap to think that this might have been a prank in which you were participating. But obviously, it was the wrong leap, the wrong assumption. He guessed wrong, and he owes you a small apology while you two patch it back up and forget about this. The much bigger issue is your coworker. You let him know that you're in an open relationship. People all the time discuss their relationships, particularly their monogamous, closed, opposite-sex, heterosexual relationships. Those of us who are in relationships that don't fall into the monogamous, heterosexual, opposite-sex mold or category, we have as much right to discuss the shape and contour, the general outlines of our relationship as any opposite-sex monogamous person does. Hopefully, an appropriate conversation at work, the opposite sex monogamous person doesn't tell you all the crazy monogamous sex that they enjoy with their partner. That's TMI in an appropriate workplace conversation. And likewise, somebody who's in an open relationship is allowed to discuss the contours and shape of their relationship without getting into the details of the kind of sex that they engage in with their primary partner or their other partners. It's just a fact about a person. Monogamous, closed relationship. What are you doing this weekend? Hanging out with my girlfriend, whatever. Fact about a person, open relationship. That your coworker went from learning that fact about you to the assumption, apparently, that people in open relationships have no boundaries, that people in open relationships can be asked anything, that people in open relationships are fair game for dick pics, unwelcome sexual questions and innuendos and remarks. That's a problem. And my advice to you would be to take it to this person first. You obviously felt comfortable enough with this person to share this information, to discuss your relationship with him in the first place. And then he made this leap that a lot of people make when they find out people in open relationships, which is to, well, I can ask them anything. I can hit on them. They are fair game. Since they're not doing the closed monogamous thing, they are public property. And that was also incorrect, but a much more offensive leap, much more offensive guess than the one your friend made. So go to him and say, dude, that was out of line. Never do anything like that again. Why would you think it was okay for you to ask my girlfriend a question like that? And I'm firing a shot across your bow. I'm discussing this with you, and I want an apology from you. I could be discussing this with H-fucking-R, which would probably come down on you a lot harder than I'm coming down on you now. But dude, what the fuck? And see what he says. I have had this conversation myself with people who, when they find out you're in an open relationship, think that they can say anything, do anything, touch you. Because if you're not doing the closed monogamy thing, then obviously you are, again, public property in a way that somebody in a monogamous relationship isn't. And it doesn't take much to set a person right. It doesn't take much, usually, if a person isn't an idiot, for them to see the mistake that they made and for them to realize that the assumptions that they had about people in open relationships were incorrect. So this could be a learning opportunity for your idiot coworker. Confront him. And I would advise you to do it in writing or via text so that you have a record. So he doesn't decide if you mention HR to go to HR first and report you for something inappropriate that you did not do. Discussing your relationship outlines contours, not offensive. Shouldn't be a problem, but you don't want him to decide to file a complaint first. So do it via text.
Hi, Dan, Nancy, and the Tech Semi at Rescues. I'm a 22-year-old bi female from Denver, Colorado. I'm wondering how to come out as a stripper to my family. I have been dancing for 2 years now, and I've told my family that I bartend at a club. Some family members know and are the more open and accepting ones, but I fear that the other family members will be upset or offended, but I'm tired of keeping up the facade. I love dancing and plan to keep on doing it until I'm unable. I'm not scared to be disowned because my family is pretty dysfunctional anyway. I've had some of them tell me that I'd better not be dancing because dancing is so bad compared to bartending at a club, but that's part of the reason I diverted into saying I was bartending instead. Any literature recommendations or advice would be greatly appreciated.
I often advise people to run their families on a need-to-know basis. Does your family need to know this? If you're gay, they kind of need to know that because that's who you're going to be with, and there's a public dimension to your relationships. And if they're going to know you and be a part of your life, to hide your romantic relationships from your family means to hide from your family entirely. They don't need to know what you're doing in bed with your same-sex partner. That's TMI, but they do need to know that you are in a same-sex relationship or that you're gay, and same-sex relationships are in your future if you're not in one now. Your kinks, does your family really need to know about your kinks? Your porn preferences, does your family really need to know about your porn preferences? Your job is a hard thing to hide from your family. What you do for a living is a difficult thing to hide from your family. And when someone does sex work, there's so much stigma and so much shame attached to sex work. And we want to live in a world at some point where that stigma and shame is reduced, if not eliminated, fingers crossed for eliminated. And we're not going to get to that place where the stigma and shame attached to sex work is lessened or gone until people are more out about doing sex work. There are a lot of people out there doing sex work, and they may be out to a confidant or a couple of close friends or some sex worker pals or their advice columnist friend Dan, but they're not out to their families. And it really is, if you look at the experience of LGBT people, it really is family that changes the world. When you come out to your family about who you are or what you're doing, they may not like it at first, but it's hard for family to walk away from family. People will reassess their prejudices. Maybe not immediately. It can be a long, drawn-out, painful, yelly, shouty process, but they will, in time, reassess their prejudices when they have to weigh the person that they know and love and have loved for a long time against what the Pope told them about cocksuckers, or what the culture, what movies and television and film and stigma and shame taught them to believe about people who dance or strip or cam or do porn, or do other forms of sex work. If you don't care whether your family disowns you or not for dancing, you're in a good position to fight the stigma, fight the shame, throw that in your family's laps and let them think about it. Maybe in the screaming and yelling and having a long, drawn-out, multi-year conversation about it, they will come around. Maybe you will wind up feeling closer to the family members who do accept you and embrace you and work through the stigma and shame that they've learned, unlearn it by dint of being in relationship with you and being in conversation with you about the choices that you've made. And those are always going to be difficult, hard conversations at first. But you sound like you're in a good position to have that conversation. They don't have leverage over you. They aren't paying your bills. They aren't paying for education. And they're pretty dysfunctional, and you don't care if they come or go. So insist that they accept you on your terms and be out to them. Be part of the change we want to see in the world where sex work and stigma and shame are concerned by bringing the members of your family who can be brought along. This episode of the Savage Lovecast is brought to you by Aptiv. Aptiv produces audio-based workouts created by certified personal trainers available through a mobile app. Aptiv offers expert trainers for the best results and motivation, a flexible audio workout format so you can work out the way you like, and a variety of classes and levels to keep you engaged. Whenever or wherever you like to work out, at the gym, at home, outside, when you're traveling for business, Aptiv is ready to go along with you with their mobile app. It's like having a personal trainer in your pocket. Aptiv's in-house music production team partners with every trainer to create music playlists that are perfectly timed to the intensity and pace of your workout. When you need that extra boost, the music keeps you going and motivated. When you're ready to slow down, the intensity of the music dials down with you. They have 5K, 10K, half and full marathon training programs and a supportive community full of Aptiv members of all levels reaching their fitness goals just like you. Sometimes when I'm at the gym, I look around and wonder who else is using Aptiv. Subscriptions start at $14.99 billed monthly or $99.99 for an annual membership. For a limited time, new members get 30% off an annual membership, which is just $69.99 for the whole year of unlimited workouts. Visit aptiv.com/savage to get Aptiv and get that discount. That's aaptiv.com/savage.
Hey, Dan. I am a bisexual guy in a big city, and I just recently broke up with a guy I was seeing for about 2 years, and I was wanting to try to become a unicorn for a couple. It's been a fantasy of mine to basically just pleasure a couple for, come in and do whatever they want. I'm pretty open to kind of everything, men and women. I love them both. I love fucking both, so I'm trying to figure out where to find them. If you can give me any pointers on how to meet couples that would want to have an extra guy in the room for once, twice, many times, I don't care. I just would love to please a couple who might want a third in their arrangement.
Got to hang your shingle. There are dating apps out there for people seeking thirds. There are dating apps out there for bisexual couples and bisexual singles, and I think you should jump in there. You can also put what you want or what you have to offer onto a mainstream dating app like your OkCupid or your Match.com. You can say who you are and say what you want even there. Speaking to a bisexual friend of mine who wanted what you wanted the opposite sex couple where they could have the best of both worlds, he said the most success that he's had seeking that out isn't in organized swinging, which is pretty anti-male biphobic. There's a huge double standard in organized swinging where the women are allowed to be casually bi, but there's no touchy-touchy guy-to-guy. For some reason, that's not permitted in organized swinging, where he found the couples that he was looking for, where he could have the best of both worlds and be that very special guest star, be the third, be the unicorn boyfriend, was in cuckolding. He looked to cuckolding ads, couples who are actively seeking a guy to primarily have sex with the girlfriend, but a lot of those couples are seeking guys who are open to also incidental contact with the husband or boyfriend. And he said it was like a gold mine. So you might want to look to cuckolding. But if cuckolding dynamics, if that sort of DS play doesn't interest you, just hang your shingle out there, man. People who don't want what you have to offer won't ask, won't hit you up. But the people who do want what you have to offer don't know to hit you up until you put that shingle out. Make your bed a magical, sexy place with Boll & Branch sheets. Everything Boll & Branch makes, from bedding to blankets, is made from pure 100% organic cotton, which means they start out super soft and get even softer over time. You buy directly from them, so you're essentially paying wholesale prices. Luxury sheets can cost up to $1,000 in the store, but Boll & Branch sheets are only a couple of $100. Everyone who tries Boll & Branch sheets loves them. That's why they have thousands of 5-star reviews. And Forbes, the Wall Street Journal, and Fast Company are all talking about Boll & Branch. Boll & Branch also only uses sustainable and responsible methods of sourcing and manufacturing. They donate a portion of every sale to charity to help fight human trafficking while preserving fair prices for consumers. Shipping is free and you can try them for 30 nights. If you don't love your new sheets, send them back for a refund, but I doubt you'll want to send them back. Either way, there's no risk and no reason not to give these sheets a try. To get you started right now, my listeners get $50 off your first set of sheets at bollandbranch.com, promo code SAVAGE. That's BOLL and branch.com, promo code SAVAGE, bollandbranch.com, promo code SAVAGE.
Hi, Dan. I'm a 33-year-old female. I'm currently trying to find a boyfriend, but I'm running into a problem right now. I am a member of the kink community, and I feel like it's important to tell people that that's a part of my life and that I'm in that lifestyle and that it might affect what I want to do with my spare time and what my ethics are like. However, whenever I bring the subject up to any person on any dating app, instantly guys are interpreting kink to mean horny or to mean generally slutty. So I'm just really trying to figure out how to go about mentioning that I'm a part of the kink community and being honest about it without instigating this impression that all I want to do is fuck every guy who breathes. I just would like your feedback in terms of, how you think I should approach dating, whether I should just tell guys, whether I shouldn't tell them anything, or if I should explain things differently.
I assume that you're open to dating people that you meet within the kink community. You don't mention that as a potential strategy. You're talking about everybody you meet outside the kink community. Now, maybe that's because you're only encountering this problem when you attempt to meet people outside the kink community, and you are open to dating people you meet in the kink community that you're a part of, but also wanting to move on all fronts, which I recommend to kinky people all the time. Avail yourself of those kinky spaces, online or in real life. Go to the munches, be an active member of the organized kink scene in your community, but also, as kinky people, you have a right to be on OkCupid and Match.com and hashtag open and Tinder and Bumble and Christian Mingle and Farmers Only and everywhere else. And there are kinky people on all of those sites. When someone is kinky and they include that information on a site that is targeted primarily at normies, that can bring out the worst. Not in kinky people, because kinky people understand that just because someone is kinky doesn't mean that they are open to anything and anyone at any time. So a lot of the negative attention or hyper-sexualized attention that kinky people get, people who mention that they're kinky on these sites, which most people who are kinky don't, is from non-kinky people who just think, oh, this is a kinky person, a self-identified kinky person. I can say and do whatever I want with this person. That's an insta-block. Block that person. So the question then becomes, as a kinky person, do you mention that you're kinky on your OkCupids, etc.? And I think it's best to perhaps withhold that. Go on a couple of dates, get to know somebody. There is that point at which you begin to share who you are sexually with someone else. And there's that point when you're dating someone, maybe after the first time that you made out, where you begin to let them know who you are sexually. And that is the time to lay your kink cards on the table after they've gotten to know you a bit. It is an important part of your life, caller. You identify as a member of the kink community, and that's information that you're going to want to share with a potential future partner, particularly if it's something that you want to bring them into, that you want them to be a part of your activities in the organized kink community, or it's something that you want to be able to pursue concurrent with maybe a vanilla relationship. Maybe you're totally up for a relationship with somebody who's only interested in vanilla sex and you are also interested in vanilla sex, but there are these kink pursuits that will always be a part of your life. And your future partner, vanilla or not, has to be down with a certain degree of openness and an accommodation and allowance for you to pursue these other sexual interests because they're really important to your sense of sexual fulfillment. And that's information that that person is entitled to, but not necessarily at the moment that they are checking out your ad on Bumble, Tinder, Fish, Cupid, Farmer, whatever. It's not deceptive for a kinky person to withhold their sexual interests. It's not an act of deception for someone who is kinky to roll that information out a little bit later. Vanilla people don't have to rattle off all of their particular sexual interests and their sexual peculiarities, and almost everyone has them, on their personal ads. Kinky people aren't obligated to do so either. But you do want to demonstrate good judgment by laying your kink cards down on the table at an appropriate moment. The U.S. Postal Service is an important tool for any business. They reach every household every day. And Stamps.com brings all the amazing services of the U.S. Postal Service right to your fingertips. Buy and print official U.S. postage for any letter, any package, any class of mail using your own computer and your own printer in your own home. Stamps.com makes it easy. They'll even send you a digital scale that automatically calculates exact postage, and it can help you decide the best class of mail based on your needs. There's no need to lease an expensive postage meter and no long-term commitments. And if you're running a business that requires frequent mailing, it's incredibly convenient and makes so much sense. Right now, you too can enjoy the Stamps.com service with a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus postage and a digital scale. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in Savage. That's Stamps.com, click the mic, enter SAVAGE for a 4-week trial plus postage and a digital scale.
Hi, Dan. I'm a 31-year-old queer-identified person in the sense of both gender and sexuality. My presentation comes off as somewhere between a butch lesbian and a femme boy. I'm reaching out to you, but also your listener base, to see if I can get some answers and to see if other people are feeling the same way I'm feeling. As I grow older and sort through my sexuality, I'm realizing that although I have a very strong attraction to primarily women, I also have an attraction to men, but only in a very specific way. The thought of vanilla heterosexual type sex really squicks me out, but the thought of having sex like a gay man really turns me on. I've gotten to peg a few guys, and it was really hot. When I watch gay porn, I picture myself in the top position, and the men I'm attracted to are very femme or gender queer as well. In the spectrum of my gender queerness, I often feel like a gay man. The thought of finding a straight guy who likes being pegged is not so appealing. So here are the things rumbling around in my head that are preventing me from pursuing this type of sex. I'm very active in the gay community in my city, and I'm a performer. Most of my friends are gay men. I've noticed a stigma around women who are attracted to gay men and pursue them. These women are talked about in a very negative way, as if they are creepy and clueless and like they have a weird fetish, or they're brushed off as fag hags who just want to make out with their gay friends and are seen as a joke. And although my gender is fluid, I'm worried that I'll be viewed in that way. I'm worried that my gender and sexuality will be invalidated because I have a vagina. I've thought about getting on some of the dating apps to put myself out there to possibly find someone who would be interested. But because I do know so many people in my community, I'm worried that my wants and desires and sex life would be put on blast and I would not be taken seriously or be made fun of in some way. Are there even gay or homo-flexible or queer femme men out there who would be interested in being topped by a person like myself? I've been hit on at gay bars, but I never take them seriously. I just chalk it up to them being drunk or joking around with me. Other than the occasional threesome or foursome I find myself in with my best friend, who is a very sexy femme queer boy, I haven't gotten to live my own gay boy fantasy, and I don't want to have to rely on him for the occasional opportunity to arise. I'm just fearful. Should I put myself out there? Are there other vagina-having queer folk out there with these desires who have had success?
Thank you for calling.
You're welcome. I'm curious why you say no when you get hit on in gay bars, if what you're looking for is somebody who's gayish or gay presenting enough to work for you. When somebody hits on you in a gay bar, why is your response no thank you?
Because I feel like usually it like the few times that I have let myself go there, then it usually is just like, it doesn't actually ever go anywhere. It's just kind of, I feel like it's like a drunken fleeting moment or a joking around. And when I take it seriously, then my feelings get hurt.
That makes total sense.
You know?
So you've learned from experience not to take the drunken, skinny, pretty gay boy up on the flirtatious offer because either he's going to balk at the last minute or it wasn't genuine. That makes sense.
Yes.
But you have had successful 3-ways and 4-ways with your gay femme bestie?
Yes.
And yet you don't want to pursue that anymore because why?
It's not that I won't pursue it. If it happens, it happens. But I guess just because the nature of my relationship with him, I don't want to inject myself into his sexual life too often. You know what I mean? We live together and we're best friends and we're really close.
Have you asked him whether it's a problem for him if you inject yourself into his sex life on a semi-regular basis?
Yeah, I mean, we were actually in a like polyamorous type relationship before, and we've decided that we need to, after that didn't work out, we decided that we should probably just focus on not having romantic or sexual type feelings for each other and focus on being best friends and roommates.
And has some of the sex happened after you became best friends and roommates? Have you had friendly sex, or is that outside the bounds now?
Well, we were friends first, and then the polyamorous relationship came after friendship, and then now we are back to friendship. And we've never had like one-on-one sexual interaction together, him and I. It's always been a group situation when there's someone, which often happens, because we're kind of a package deal around town. People know us together, and sometimes people assume we're together, and then people approach us together sometimes for sexual stuff. But yeah.
So it sounds like, he's a pretty good wingman. And I wouldn't, if you guys are able to stick the dismount and return to being friends, but also occasionally mess around without it screwing up your friendship, not officially in a relationship anymore, it's not as fraught, the stakes aren't as high, we're able to be intimate. And who knows, you might have a 3-way with him or a 4-way with him where you wind up hitting it off in a big way with one of the other participants that you can pursue then solo. So I just don't think you should close that off if you don't need to.
Okay.
The other thing that I would recommend is, you say that you're afraid to put yourself out there in, queer spaces, which aren't all gay male, for fear of having your gender or sexuality invalidated. I just wanted to drill down on what you mean by invalidation. There's the invalidation of people saying, no, you're not. That's not true. That's not possible. And that's true invalidation, and that's not okay. But some people use invalidation when they mean rejection. I was hit on, I hit on this person, I put myself out there, and I felt really invalidated when they weren't interested in me. They didn't see me as a potential sex partner for X, Y, or Z reason that made me self-conscious about who I am or how I identify. And that's not fair to the person doing the rejection, because you don't know whether it's just straight up not into you for legitimate reasons or not into you for other reasons that touch on who you are, how you identify. But I'm sorry, those reasons are also legitimate, because no one's required to sleep with anybody else for any reason.
Right.
And, on the flip side, I encourage people to interrogate their desires, to be open to new experiences, be open to different kinds of people, because often we are capable of and benefit from, a broader spectrum of attraction than we realize, at least when we're young and initially setting out there, because we have the script in our hand that was handed to us. And it takes some time, I think, for people to realize that they can tear up that script and write their own.
Totally. I guess sometimes being a vagina having human and being around mostly gay men, that it's the space that I feel most comfortable in, and it's a community that I do feel loved and welcomed, and most of the time feel as an equal. But, especially when gay boys do the same thing that like hetero boys do, when hetero boys have to act out and prove their masculinity, gay boys kind of do the same thing and talk about how disgusting vaginas are sometimes, and, oh my God, I would never touch one, and all that kind of stuff. And, backstage and things, when comments like that fly around, it just kind of gets me in a weird headspace and makes me feel a little othered and feel like, undesirable. And I don't know.
Well, I hate to, first of all, I'm guilty of that same kind of shit myself, and I apologize if I've made you feel othered, but you are undesirable to gay men.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I get that. And,
you're looking for a particular kind of queer person.
Yeah.
Who is on the bi spectrum, femme, reads gay, but is into women and not squigged out by vagina, wants to plant his face in one. Those guys are out there. They're probably mixed in with the pile of gay guys who are also out there. And you're going to have to dig through that pile to find the guys who are the right certain type of queer femme man for you.
Right. So you're saying I just have to put myself out there.
Yeah, you do have to put yourself out there. That process can be a little frustrating because you're going to encounter some of that youthful squickiness. And not to excuse it, but, think about 11-year-old boys. All of them are squicked out by girls' bodies. Ew, gross, right? And then they all hit puberty, and the straight and bi ones are like, yum, yum, yum. And they get over the ew, gross pretty quick. Not because they're more highly evolved, not because they took a women's studies course at 11 or 12, but because puberty grabbed them by the dick.
Right.
Little gay boys don't get grabbed by the dick at 11 or 12 in quite the same way. And so that squickiness can linger, particularly into the early 20s. Because they've never really had to think about it or confront it.
Right.
And that's not to excuse it, it's just to contextualize it. And maybe to thicken your skin a little bit when you encounter it. That it's not about you or your vag, it's about them.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I'm not a person who can't take a joke, and I usually throw it right back. It's harder whenever sometimes I see it coming out of mouths of the guys who have touched my vagina, but just to say one thing in public and then do another thing in private, that's sometimes hard to swallow. But
what do you do at that moment if somebody who's literally touched your vagina says something squick about vagina in front of you and you're standing there? What would you do? I'll tell you what I would do, but first I want to hear what you've done.
Well, I usually just shoot them a look, or I just sometimes disappear depending on what mood I'm in. Sometimes I just want to yell, "I've been inside of you," but that's probably not helpful.
I think that would be very helpful, and I think that you should absolutely do that.
Yeah. Okay, I'll try that next time.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're going to have to look for what you want where it is, and the particular type you want is probably gay identified, even if he's not gay.
Right.
If he's femme and he reads super gay and is primarily attracted to other men, to the extent that he needs to be for you to be attracted to him.
Right. Yeah.
He's going to be the gay identified bi guy in the pile of super queeny, sexy femme. I love femboys, super queeny, sexy femboys at the club or in your friendship circle. And the only way for them to know that you're into them, because they've disappeared into gay identity, rounded themselves up or down, depending on your POV, to gay, because it communicates perhaps the larger truth about who they are and how they function and what they want.
Right.
Is for them to know that you want that part of them that for now is hidden or masked by either a gay default setting assumption or their professed gay identity, because that feels nearest the mark for them, even if it doesn't fully encompass who they are sexually. So it's really on you to put yourself out there without fear. And you're going to get some weird ass blowback from some people. But you know what you said about worrying about not being taken seriously or made fun of? I know what that feeling is like. Every gay guy in that bar knows what that feeling is like.
Yeah.
What you're talking about is the fear of coming out and being judged or mocked or not believed.
Right.
And everybody in that bar, even if they don't quite get who you are sexually, should understand and be able to empathize with that.
Totally. And I mean, I've already done it once, coming out as queer. So I guess the journey continues.
Yeah. You're not even coming out as queer. You're coming out as like the kind of guy you're attracted to. And let that rumor spread, because then those guys are going to beat a path to your strap on.
Cool.
Good luck.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Dan.
Sure thing. Bye.
Hi, I'm in Minnesota, where I was born and raised, 37 years old. Have a great group of friends from high school that a lot of them all live here still. And every time I'm home, I'm here for, a week or a month and hanging out with them and love them. Well, I'm out here on the lake with my best friend, and we're just sitting here casting out the line and talking about things for 5 hours. And finally, she looks to me and says, "So I have to ask you a question. My boyfriend, someone that we went to high school with, we all went to high school together, said that you like to get peed on." And, I'm not averse to people that like to get peed on. It's not my thing at all. And I'm frankly mortified. And my first reaction was just like, how I feel like I am being bullied as a 37-year-old woman, but also like I'm embarrassed. Like, how on earth could I combat this? It's just my friends who are married with kids, and maybe some of them have heard about it, maybe some of them haven't, I don't know. And I don't really know what to do next. Tim, do you have anything to say? Do I go to the boyfriend? Do I go to my friends? Do I not even care? I'm proud of my sexuality and I'm proud of who I am, but I just am not really like that comfortable with all of my best friends thinking that I have asked a human person to pee on me.
The only way to counter a malicious rumor is with the truth. Your friend, when she asked you whether you actually did enjoy getting peed on, presented you with an opportunity to tell the truth and to tell her that no, indeed, you do not enjoy getting peed on, and hopefully she has relayed that message to whoever it is that she heard from in the first place that you like getting peed on. Not that there's anything wrong with enjoying getting peed on or wanting to pee on people. If you want to be armed with some facts, urophilia, pretty common, but men are overwhelmingly the urophiliacs of the world. Men tend to fetishize urine more often than women. If there's an opposite sex couple and somebody is being peed on, it is almost invariably at the male's request that the peeing, whichever direction it's going, is being performed. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. This is a hometown rumor started by a malicious fucking ex. If you want to be proactive, contact a few of your friends in town and let them know who you think started the rumor and let them know that it is not true. There are definitely things that you enjoy in the bedroom, but that ain't one of them. And I say this as someone who there's a lot of gossip and rumors circulating online about, I wouldn't worry about it too much. And don't assume that someone who spreads a rumor like that, somebody who just brings that up in casual conversation at dinner or a party, is given a lot of credence by others. Most people, when somebody just blurts out, hey, my ex-girlfriend likes to be peed on, look at that person and think, why on earth would you tell me that? True or not? And it makes that person look like a malicious gossip or an asshole liar or both. So even in the telling of this and the retelling of this and the pushing of this malicious, untrue gossip about you, your ex-boyfriend, if indeed he is the source of this rumor, comes out looking worse than you do.
Hey, Dan and the tech-savvy at-risk youth. I'm calling in regards to the woman who got the text from her dad about the earring and is concerned whether or not he's having an affair. And I think your advice was totally spot on. My father has been taking care of my mother, who's a lifelong alcoholic, who, for all intents and purposes, has been having an affair with a bottle for the last 20 years of their 30-year marriage. And over the years, we've thought, there are some signs here, but nothing was brought up. There was nothing completely obvious. It was just a hunch between my siblings and I. And ultimately, the decision we had to make was that if him potentially having things on the side or people on the side means that he can stay true to his wedding vows to have and to hold to take care of this person who can't take care of herself, well, if we're not in the middle and we're not having to provide any deception or provide any cover, then, it's between the two of them and he still takes care of her. So it's hard to fault someone for that.
Hi, I'm calling about the listener who hadn't orgasmed and 21 years old. I was the same way. I did not get an orgasm from masturbating until my mid-20s, and I also had a very similar intense fear of pregnancy due to my my religious upbringing. I think that those things are extremely related, and that she, like me, may have a strong link between anything sexual and fear because of the pregnancy fear, that it just kind of bleeds over into everything sexy is everything fearful. So I think that working on that irrational fear of pregnancy ruining your life if you get pregnant outside of marriage, I think really breaking that down, maybe with a therapist, would be really helpful in being able to unlock that part of you and that fearlessness that you need a little bit to be able to let go into orgasm.
Hello to everyone at my favorite podcast. I am actually a sex therapist, and this is in response to episode number 606, where the woman was really enjoying oral sex but imagining that she had a dick. Well, I actually hear this all the time, and I've experienced it myself, and we have sort of coined this term, having an energetic penis, which means for some reason we can sort of imagine that we have a penis that can penetrate or be sucked.
And we're going to leave it there. 206-302-2064 is the number here at the Savage Lovecast. If you'd like to record a question or a comment for a future show, give us a buzz. 206-302-2064. Come see my Dirty Little Porn Film Festival. Well, it's still legal to go see Dirty Little Porn Film Festivals. Who knows where this country is going? Go to humpfilmfest.com to find out when Hump is coming to a city near you. Also, while you're online, go to itmfa.org or impeachthemotherfuckeralready.com and get your ITMFA shirts, hats, t-shirts, stickers, coffee cups, buttons, lapel pins. They're really fun to wear out there. There are now rainbow-striped ITMFA t-shirts and tanks available. People will see you in your ITMFA wear or see you drinking coffee at work out of your ITMFA cup, and they will ask you what that stands for. It happened to be yesterday in New York, and you get to say, impeach the motherfucker already. And you know what? That's a fun fucking thing to say to people. ITMFA.org. All proceeds benefit the American Civil Liberties Union, Planned Parenthood, and the International Refugee Assistance Project. Follow me on Twitter at FakeDanSavage. Follow Ellie and Lay on Twitter at LesHangoutPod. The Savage Lovecast is produced every week by Nancy Hartunian and me and the tech-savvy at-risk youth and Nancy. We'll all be back at you next week with another installment of Savage Lovecast. Thanks for downloading.